I think there's so many companies that can really afford to experiment with AI and make a mistake, and it really doesn't have that much of an impact. Northrop Grumman can't do that. A mistake when implementing an AI system could be, the stakes are simply just higher. How did that change your approach when thinking about, I guess, your approach to AI?
Sure. Yeah. So when AI started to sort of turn a corner in terms of public awareness, I was at BAE at the time. But the same approach actually was applied to both companies. And then I sort of picked this up midstream at Northrop Grumman. Before I get into that, though, I would take a half a step back and say there are risks of AI that we're all very aware of. Drift, hallucinations, convincingly being wrong, loss of IP because commercial tools learn from prompts, false citations, et cetera. There's all kinds of things that are considered sort of normal risks of AI. There's other risks of AI that are AI being used as a tool to socially engineer, as a tool, as an attack surface, as a tool that you do as a tool to produce zero-day attacks. We're seeing way more zero-day attacks than we've seen in the past. The creation of deepfakes. There's not a technology. It doesn't matter what anybody's saying. I mean, we've looked at this pretty extensively. There is not a technical capability to consistently and effectively identify deepfake. And so when you look at AI, not only as a risk as a user, but the risk as both a surface to be attacked and a tool to do the attacks, as a company, you have to think about how do you mitigate those risks. And so we have a library of risks that we actively, keep focused on. And then we have active mitigations of each one of those things. And this is a bit of a moving target. I mean, as you said, it's moving super fast, but it is about deliberately understanding that and mitigating that. And you weigh that risk with the potential benefit. Our board loves the idea of AI, but our board is not blind to the risks of it. And so it's a constant balance between those things. So for us, what we did in looking at that risk position was, first thing we did was we cut off easy access to it. We sent a communication out to our employees acknowledging it. I partnered with legal to build a immediate policy around it. And then we started down the path of enabling internal capability, because you can mitigate a lot of those other risks. There's a number of risks you can mitigate with that, not all of them. And then we produced the exception process, because you need to have people, certain organizations just have too much benefit. You can't hold them back. So then how do you mitigate those risks? Well, lots of training and attestations and other things. And so we started to build up risk mitigations for where we needed to open the access. And then we built our internal environment and continue to manage that. So it was a very incremental but rapid step to respond to it, to acknowledge it, to help people understand those risks, and to manage them deliberately. And so we're best served with most of the internal stuff, and then we use training, attestation, continuous monitoring to mitigate from an external perspective. And then when it comes to either being subject to that as an attack tool, that gets into your whole security posture, which is some combination of your engineering, your threat intelligence, your collaboration, your processes, your network inspection, your endpoint inspection. Like, there's all kinds of things that go into this, but I think it's really about having as comprehensive a view as you can and active mitigations. And sometimes those mitigations, like in the case of deepfakes, aren't technical, right? Sometimes that's process or communication or collaboration between like IT and HR, it might be. But I think it requires a very clear understanding and a very deliberate stance.